Hey guys, what's up? Uh, why does it seem like it's the lazy people who are most worried about what everybody else is doing? It seems like it seems like I have too much evidence for this throughout my life for it not to be like at least true to a degree. Uh, I was a supervisor at a couple of places, and I would get like complaints from my team that like the shift before us didn't do this or they didn't do that or they didn't stage something or whatever. And it was never it was like never from the people who I didn't have to watch, like there at work it's like there's people that you you could just leave them alone and they're gonna do the job, and you ain't even got to think about it. And then there's people that are gonna like come and ask you, if there's a way to make the job easier, or if we do this, it's double working or whatever. And I I don't understand double working. Like I get it to a degree because like some things are hard to do and you don't want to have to do it twice, like moving heavy things or um like some things are just time consuming and you don't feel like having to do it twice. But like when you go to work, you're kind of there to work the whole time. Like does it really matter what you're doing so much? Unless it's like a hard job, like you're moving heavy things, and but usually in jobs like that you'll have people like rotating, um you know throughout the process. And even when I wasn't like supervising or anything, uh it seemed like there are those people that like try to push work off onto you, you know um I've to me, and I know this isn't like probably great or anything, but I've always it's usually easier for me to just do something than to ask someone else to do it, or to just do something rather than wait for somebody else to do it, or um, ask for help or anything like that. Um, I don't think it's like a good thing. I should probably get better at asking for help and communicating and stuff, but it seems like for me it's just easier to just do the thing. Um, but there's also, the people who uh, the people who say like that's not my job and that's not my job and that's not my job. I'm just here to do this, and it's like they're there to do just like the bare minimum to get through the day and go home and get paid, which I understand. That makes sense because like when you're doing things, you're spending calories, you're spending energy on doing things, and the agreement is kind of like that you spend your energy to get things done, and then in return you get money, resources, that you need or that you want or whatever. So I get it. From like an evolutionary standpoint, I think I'm not like an anthropologist or anything, but from a like an evolutionary point of view, I think uh it's like we're a social species, and I think in a lot of social species probably, but like in ours specifically, um it's kind of an agreement. Like we we spend our own energy to to get things done, which which is good for the group, you know, and then we're um, rewarded with you know, whatever it is that we need, resources and stuff. And I think that that works, you know, like that's kind of what we evolved to do. Um, and there's no real such thing as laziness. It's really like you don't want to spend extra calories on things because in the wild that's how you die, you know. um that gets you in trouble. It's not good to spend all of your energy on things. But uh but like socially, you know, the deal is that you spend a little bit of your energy on things, and it's almost like scamming when somebody tries to um, not spend their energy on the task that the group is working on and still get the reward. Like it's scammy behavior. It's almost like it's almost to me. It seems like it's almost like a mental illness, like some kind of antisocial behavior. Um, when I was a kid, kind of like becoming an adult, like when I was like in high school, coming out of high school and becoming like a young adult, um, I had a lot of friends who uh, had like kind of iffy home lives, you know, uh, like me. Like my dad was crazy, and uh, he would like come up with he would like come up with reasons to be mad at me and like yell at me and embarrass me in public and stuff. He would get bored and he would just want to like psychologically torture me. uh and he was a lot bigger than me, so I like never like tried to fight him or anything. But I had friends that like had really um you know, kind of intense relationships with their parents. And that I left home a couple of times, and a lot of my friends left home, uh, you know, once or twice. And but sometimes somebody's parents would kick them out, and a lot of times it was because of a disagreement um, or whatever. Like I know that I wasn't probably the easiest person to get along with sometimes when I was that age. But I mean, I wasn't raised right, and I was kind of, you know, misguided and stuff. Um, and so were a lot of my friends, but I don't think I was that hard to get along with, you know. And my friends couldn't have been that hard to get along with because they were my friends. Like they, you know, they were successful in making at least some friends. Um, but a lot of times when somebody's parents would kick them out, there would be this like talk about like go out and make something for yourself, or make something of yourself and get a job and make your own money and stop needing money from me, essentially. And I never really understood that. It always seemed like it always seemed uh strange to me. Like enough people said it, I think, that the people who were doing it didn't feel so bad about it. Like it was sort of kind of normalized to kick your kid out at like 18 to go get a job or whatever. Um, but some of these people would be willing to like make their kid homeless, basically. Or what would end up happening effectively some of the time is that they would kick their kid out and their kid would end up couch hopping at all of their friends' houses. So they're kind of pushing their kid off on some other parent, um, to deal with for a week or a month or whatever. Um, and it that kind of thing reminded me of like people at work who were trying to get away with not doing, um, what they were supposed to be doing, or doing like the bare minimum. And it was common enough, and for parents to kick out their kids, or to kick their kids out of the house. And I think that they felt kind of in the right, because like it's like a life lesson kind of thing or whatever. Like, disrespect me and see what happens. Like, get out and make your own money then. But to me, it didn't make any sense. I spent a lot of time with these people who were kicked out of their house, or really just abused by their parents, and they weren't really bad kids. They were just, we all kind of lived in a rough environment, not too rough. Like, I'm not bragging. I know that suffering is a competition. I'm not saying that we were all like, super ghetto thugs or anything, um, but there were some things going on that shouldn't have been going on, and we had to deal with that and live through it and come out the other side, um, in whatever varying states of, um, mental health. Um, so I don't get like parents that kick their kids out when they're 18. To me, it doesn't make like financial sense, really. Uh, the whole idea, this might be a subject for another video, but the whole idea of people, um, the whole idea of splitting up families, for like when you grow up, you're expected to like go start your own family in your own house, or at least just not, stay with your parents. In our culture, it's an expectation that we put on, like 18-year-olds who have no idea what they're doing. And I feel like it would make more sense to have more money earning people in the same household if you have room, like if your kid had a room, which they should have, if you're raising your kids in an environment that is like up to par with um, societal standards. If they have a room and they're feeding themselves and they're helping with the bills, is that not like kind of helpful? Like, is that not a good idea? And even if the kid is having trouble like doing the adult stuff, you know, with the making money and really just making money, because that's what, like 90% of being an adult is having your finances in order so that you can deal with everything. um Even if they're having trouble doing that, like you know, maybe that's not really on them if they're 18 years old or even 20. Or I mean, even if they're 20, they're still not old enough to drink yet. Their brain isn't going to be completely developed till they're like 27 or something. I forget the actual age, but like they're basically children. You know, the number 18 is really kind of arbitrary. Like we kind of just made that shit up because we didn't have like a better way of distinguishing between children and adults. But really, like when you're 18 you're an adult, but you can't drink till you're 21, and you're probably physically able to have children since you're like 12 or something. um and your brain doesn't stop developing until your mid to late 20s, I think, if I remember right. So 18 is kind of a it's kind of a squishy number to lean on, really, if you're if you're making the argument that your kids should be um a capable adult by that time, especially if they're having trouble. You know, like if they're having trouble, maybe it's not them, maybe it's that you didn't teach them enough or something. But that's kind of getting away from like the lazy topic. Uh, it feels lazy, to like maybe it's financial pressure, maybe it's not necessarily laziness, but like um, kicking your kid out when they're 18 to make their own money because you don't want to spend the little bit that it would take to feed them and keep them alive while they figure out how to be an adult, to me just seems kind of odd. Like it seems off. It seems like a squishy argument, or a squishy way of thinking. um and it seems like how I was saying. Sorry, I'm having to burp for some reason. Um, for some reason, it seems like the people who are the people who want to spend the energy to get the stuff done the least seem like they're the same people that are always worried about what everybody else is doing and whether or not other people are working and whether or not other people are pulling their weight. Um, maybe these people are just like hyper aware of fairness, and they're trying um, legitimately to keep things fair, but it seems really more like scammy behavior to me. I don't know. I think that's everything I got today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to help me grow the channel. I'm trying to get monetized so that I make more money. and if I'm making more money doing things like this, then I don't have to work as much, and I'll have time for other things that I want to do, like um, making cool stuff on the internet. So um, I think that's it. Y'all have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.